Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to the channel if you're new here. I've had to put the camper van build on hold for this week as I really need to change the rear shocks on my car. So this video is going to be about how to change the rear shock absorbers on the MK7 Golf, and it's the same for loads of other models. I couldn't list it because there's so many models that these shocks fit. I'm going to be replacing the rear shocks with these Bilstein B4s. They're a really good quality shock absorber, made in Germany, probably better than the originals. And the reason I'm replacing them is that the handling is absolutely terrible. It feels like you're driving a boat when you're going around corners, and it just feels a bit dangerous to drive, so hopefully this will make a big difference. It's a really common problem, getting leaky shocks. I was speaking to the guy at the garage, and he said that the cars come in for their first MOT and they've already got leaking shocks. So maybe that's just a UK thing because of the roads here. So first of all, I loosen the wheel nuts while the car's still on the ground. I then get my trolley jack and position it underneath the car and jack the car up on this jacking point here. I place my axle stand underneath the car so it supports the chassis, and then I lower my jack onto the axle stand, making sure it's nice and secure. I then proceed to remove all the wheel bolts. I take the wheel off and I place it underneath the car as another safety precaution. That's just in case the jack stand fails or for whatever reason the car falls, at least it's not going to fall on you. Using a T20 Torx bit, I remove all the screws holding on the wheel arch lining, and that's to gain better access to the top mount bolts. I use the jack to support the lower suspension arm, and then I can remove the lower mounting bolt for the shock, and for that I lock the spanner on one side and then use my breaker bar on the other side to loosen the bolt. I then remove the two top mount bolts. I then compress the shock absorber. Look at all the play in that. Take out the lower mounting bolt and then remove the old shock. And this one's even worse than the last one. Shouldn't be able to do that with my hand. I use a small screwdriver to pop off the cap from the top mount. I then put my shock in a vise to hold it in place, and using a deep ring spanner and an adjustable, I hold the piston rod in place with the adjustable and then loosen off the top nut using my other spanner. So I cut off the cable tie from the top mount assembly and remove the plastic cover. And here we can see the bump stop. I check the condition of this, it doesn't look too bad. So I put it back in, put the plastic cover back on, and then fit a new cable tie. We can now install our new Bilstein B4 shock absorber into the top mount assembly and install in a new nylock. I tighten it down until it bottoms out on the piston rod. Not forgetting to put our top cap back on, and now we can go refit it on the car. I then torque up the upper mounting bolts to 50 Newton meters plus 45 degrees. I don't have a torque angle gauge, so I just do it by eye. With the upper mounting bolts correctly torqued, we can then insert our lower mounting bolt. But before we tighten it, we've got to lift the lower suspension arm to the correct ride height. And that's 370 millimeters plus or minus 10 mil for the 2 litre TDI Blue Motion model. So using a tape measure, I measure from the top of the wheel arch to the centre of the hub. And then once I'm happy it's to the correct height, I torque it up to 70 Newton meters plus 180 degrees. And again, I don't have one of the torque angle gauges, so I just do this by eye. Once the lower mounting bolt is correctly torqued up and tightened, we can carefully lower the suspension arm down and refit our wheel arch lining. Now all that's left to do is refit our wheel. Remove the jack stand and don't forget to torque up the wheel nuts to 120 Newton meters. So even after a short test drive, I can feel the difference. It's made a massive improvement to the handling of the car. It's really firmed up the suspension and it's not rolling all over the road. So I've still got to replace the front shock absorbers. They're also leaking. It's a little bit more involved with that one because we've got to compress the springs to get them onto the shocks. But I may go through that in a later video when the new shocks arrive if you're interested. So if you are, please don't forget to give this video a like, and if you'd consider subscribing to the channel, that would be fantastic. And if you click the little alarm bell, you'll get notifications when I post new videos. So all that's left to say is thank you for watching. I hope you found this video useful and it's given you the confidence to do this job yourself. It's a nice and easy one, and it will save you loads of money in the long run. I was quoted £800 to replace all 4 shocks. I've done 2 of them, I've got 2 to go. So yeah, big savings on doing it yourself, and it's also quite satisfying. I'm currently working on a camper van build series, so if you're interested in that, I'll put that video at the end of this video somewhere here, so you can check that series out and follow me through the van build. But if not, then cool. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you next time.